Hello everyone, it's Nick from Claret and Booze. I hope you're all well. Bit of a late one from me today. I'm up to my eyeballs at the minute. But before we get started with this show, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit that bell notification button. And most importantly, please remember, if you can, drop a like on the video because it does help us. It tells the YouTube algorithm to share it around. So yeah, that really does help us. It's very much appreciated. So what we're going to talk about today. So we've got a couple of topics. As you've seen from the thumbnail, it looks like we are now in a situation where we're in a tug of war with Everton for Sean Dyche. How the mighty have fallen. Unbelievable, isn't it? But look, we're going to have to, if he does come in, we're going to have to give him a chance, aren't we? So we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about Wolves, who are linked with not one, not two, but three of our players. They want three of our players. Two of them we know about. One of them I've only just found out about, and I'm incredibly pissed off about, if I'm quite honest. Yeah, but we'll get into that in a bit. You can probably guess which one it's going to be. Have a little guess. So we're linked with, I'll tell you now, we're linked with Dawson, or they're linked with Dawson. They're also linked with Antonio. There's one more. See if you can have a guess who that is before we get to that section. Right, so, as we all know, we have been linked with a raft of managers just in the last few months. We know that Sullivan, Gold has passed away. We know that Sullivan has been tapping up several managers. We know Tuchel, Poch, and Unai Emery, who's gone to Aston Villa, have all been approached. You know, some dating back as far as sort of September, October time. So there's been plenty of moves for other managers to replace David Moyes, but as to this point, they've kind of struggled to get those types of targets. Now, a name that has always been mentioned and has always been most probable, if we're being perfectly honest with ourselves, is Sean Dyche. We know that the guy would take the job. We know he would, and I think that could be part of the reason why David Sullivan has been sitting on his hands, is because he's had this comfort blanket knowing that Sean Dyche will just step in, no matter what the situation is. Sean Dyche is out of work. He doesn't want to go to the Championship. He wants a Premier League job. He will come to us. Probably be quite cheap. He's out of work as well. So that's why they've kind of been, he's probably, they'll probably look at him in a similar sort of profile to Moyes. Not too much is going to change. It will just give the squad a lift. If it doesn't work with Moyes, we'll move him out. We'll move Dyche in. Job done. Easy little changeover. So I think they've always had that in the back of their minds. But that's all changed because Everton are now odds-on to sack, and I mean odds-on to sack Frank Lampard. He might not even make it to the game at the weekend. And they face Southampton, I think. So if they don't get a result in that one against the bottom of the league team, then he's definitely gone. And obviously there's rumours floating about that West Ham are going to give David Moyes 2 more games, which I don't believe, I don't buy into. But there's plenty of sources out there that are sort of trying to push the Moyes narrative, say we're overreacting, we should give him more time. Look at what he's done. Look at what he's done for us. Ignore the fact that if he loses to Wolves, we'll have only had 1 point in 21 and we'll be 2 points off the bottom. We'll be in the bottom 3 after exactly half a season. Ignore that. Think of what he's done for us. No, I think that's just a public. They're trying to put as much in place, as much of a support network around David Moyes to make him and the team feel like he's being backed, so that he's got the very best chance of getting something out of the Wolves game. Because I still believe that they would probably rather David Moyes start picking up points, keep us safe, and then they can make a change in the summer. I still think that's their ideal scenario. But it's a very unlikely scenario that's going to happen. It's more likely if he stays that we're going to get relegated. After half a season, if you've only got 15 points, it's not looking good, is it? Let's face it. And with Everton, now not only favourites to sack Frank Lampard, they are now hot favourites to appoint Sean Dyche. He is now the front runner to take the Everton job. There are rumours that Sean Dyche has had talks with the Everton board about the potential takeover from Frank Lampard. So that's in an advanced position now, an advanced situation. So that's going to change things for David Sullivan, isn't it? He's got a decision to make because his comfort blanket is about to be ripped out from underneath him because he's been dithering. And not only that, the type of job that we was probably going to offer Dyche may have changed, because there was talk that if we got Dyche in, it was going to be on a 6-month loan. And then after 6 months, we would probably be looking at a 1-year contract. So that and then we'll assess it again in the summer. Well, if Sean Dyche has got 2 jobs being offered to him, and one of them show a little bit more faith in him and give him a longer contract, who's he going to go to? So that could end up with Sean Dyche being appointed, if we were indeed to go for him, if they do want him that much, that they're going to have to not only move sooner, but they're going to probably have to give him a longer contract. And do you know something? This is all of their own making. If they'd have gone to Sean Dyche before the World Cup break, and they'd have said, look, you've got 6 months to turn this around, he'd have had a full over half a season, they'd have given him a transfer window, and they could have said to him, and we'll talk again in the summer. As simple as that. He probably would have gone for it, because at that time, there wasn't an obvious job for Sean Dyche. Now there is. There's 2. And there's 2 clubs that are vying for his name. I mean, who'd have thought you'd have been in this situation where West Ham and Everton are loitering around the bottom 3 together, looking like they could go down, playing tug of war over Sean Dyche. Now, look, I don't want to be disrespectful to Sean Dyche. I don't. But he's not a big name. His style of football that we know, because that's all you know is what you've seen, is not great. So he done an amazing job at Burnley, a fantastic job at Burnley. Yes, he did. He almost performed miracle year after year to sort of keep them in the league. He did the best with what he had. Very solid defensively. He plays a conventional 4-4-2. Plays with conventional wingers. So at least I suppose we'd see 2 up front. There would be a change in system. It wouldn't be exactly the same, but of course, Dyche isn't going to put himself in a situation. He's not Bielsa. It's not nice football at all costs. And he plays with what he's got now. What he did do, he did an interview with TalkSport about 3 monks ago. He's been floating around, and he spoke about how he's been profiled as a manager. And he said exactly that. He said, look, I came up with Burnley. He said, if I'd have tried to play like Man City, he said, then we'd have got relegated. They had no money to spend. They had very, very little in it by way of resource. And he found a formula that worked for that football club to keep them in the Premier League. That was a job. That was a mandate from the board. That was his job. And the fans, the actual club itself, they were happy with that situation. They were. But he did say, he said, if I went to a different job, it would be a different case. He used Tottenham as an example. He said, for instance, if I went to Tottenham, he said, you wouldn't play hoofball, which is what Antonio Conte's doing. He said, because you're going to a club whose history is shrouded with teams that play good, entertaining football. That's what the fan base want, and it's just as important to entertain the fan base as it is to get a result. He was saying all the right things, and the same does apply to West Ham. We are as a fan base, the West Ham way. That's what it's all about. It's about going out. We're not Man City, but it's about going out and attacking a team and not rolling over. We don't win every week, more often than not. We lose most weeks, typically in our history, but we always have a go, and that's why it's been that sort of scenario where you lose the games that you should win, and then when you think you're down and out, you'll turn up against the league leaders and you'll beat them. You'll beat them because you have a go at them. So I think he could be. I think he's a braver manager than David Moyes. We can't really comment too much on him tactically. I don't think we can. Well, tactically he's fine. What he was doing was working with Burnley. It worked fine. It worked perfectly well. Is he a football purist? No, he's not. But in the situation that we are now in, halfway through a season, we're in a fight. We're in a battle. We need somebody that's been there before. We need somebody that can galvanise the squad, galvanise the team, pick them all up. Sean Dyche is renowned for being a superb man manager. First and foremost, you won't hear any grizzles from any of his ex-players about their management of, their relationship with Sean Dyche as a manager. He's very good, In a similar sort of vein, apparently Sam Allardyce was a good man manager as well. But Sean Dyche is also, and we know that is one of the shortfalls of David Moyes. He's not a talker. He's not a cuddler. He's not really anything. He's just, he just kind of, he's not. He hasn't got good man management skills. We know that. It's obvious. It's obvious for the world to see. We've heard it from numerous sources now within the club. Players, ex-players, people that have moved on. So that would be a massive advantage, because what you've got to do if you're going to survive a relegation fight is you've got to first of all accept it, and then you need someone that can turn that into a positive spin. So embrace the situation that you're in, and then G your boys up to be ready for that fight, for every single game, and then just take every game, one game at a time, 3 points at a time, until you're safe. That's what you've got to do. Whereas David Moyes has taken the arrogant approach as, nah, we're not in a relegation fight. We're too big for that. We're fighting for Europe. No, you're not, Dave. You're not, mate. So yeah, look, Sean Dyche is not and never would be my primary choice. There's a part of me is gonna die inside a little bit if we get rid of David Moyes and we bring Sean Dyche in. But that's for Sean Dyche to prove us all wrong. Sean Dyche can come in. He could be completely different to what we're all expecting. You know, he could be a breath of fresh air. He could be someone that's been out of the game that wants his big chance, is going to grab it with both hands, and he could wow everyone. He could. So we just don't know. I'm willing to give him a chance. I'm definitely going to give him a chance. I'm going to get behind him. You know, it's not his fault. He won't employ himself. This is if we get Sean Dyche, by the way. But I'll just be so happy to move on from this situation that we're in. I will be. Just to get past David Moyes. I'm sick of talking about him. I really am. I don't want to talk about him anymore. So yes, for me at this stage, if Moyes was to go and Dyche was to come in, I'd be happy. Nowhere near as happy as I would be if we'd get Poch or Tuchel or Postecoglou or Bielsa or all these other managers that have been mentioned. But we've got to factor in the fact that we've got David Sullivan, who just can't fucking attract a manager. I don't know why. It's not the club. We're a big club. We're not a little club. We're a big outfit. If Aston Villa can get Emery, we should be able to attract Emery as well. But the difference is their board setup, the people that are negotiating with Emery, it's different. You know, we've got little Dave Sullivan with his little monster man. We'll go and West Ham. We'll go and West Ham manage. Won't give you fuck all. And what I will give you, I'll buy myself half the time because we ain't got a scouting system, but I've got this bloke, right, Will Salthouse. He's amazing. I don't know if he talks like that, actually. According to Cannington, then not, because that's not his voice. He talks a little bit more like that, doesn't he? But that's how I imagine him talking, like a little fucking gremlin, a little gremlin with his hat on. So yes, for whatever reason, he can't attract managers. That's probably something to do with it. But moving on from that, let me know what your thoughts are on Sean Dyche anyway. There is no point kicking and screaming about it if it happens. There really isn't. There isn't, you know, I think we've tried to get better. Sullivan can't deliver it. So I think if we end up with Sean Dyche, it's because we've ended up at Sean Dyche. He's going to probably have been our 5th, 6th or 7th choice manager that they've worked their way down through the list. And there's their safety net at the bottom, Sean Dyche, who could end up being a good manager for us. Just one problem at a time. We've got to get out of this problem first, and then we'll address the situation with Sean Dyche. If that doesn't work later, we'll have to address that one. But for the moment, get rid of Moyes, survive relegation, we go again, hopefully with new owners who can talk to and attract managers. You know, would be nice, wouldn't it? Right, moving on to these transfer rumours from Wolves. So we heard about Dawson. Wolves were linked with Dawson in the summer, and it went all the way down to transfer deadline day, where he was going to be moving. And look, obviously, we had the issues with Ogbonna and Ag, where we couldn't get another defender in. We was linked with someone. Was Bednarek or someone like that from Southampton? We sort of missed out on that move right at the last minute. I think he went to Newcastle, didn't he? So we had to pull the plug on the Dawson deal, and we know that he's living up north and he's commuting in to training, so he's not spending as much time with family. He wants to go for family reasons. We don't know what they are. There's been lots of speculation. But he's back on the table again, funny enough, which I weren't expecting. Lopetegui wants Dawson. So I think we would be horrible for a guy that's coming up to sort of 33 now. He's got a chance to go to another Premier League club. You know, how many times is that? It won't be there next year. So if we hold on to him until the summer, Wolves probably will go for someone else. But this is an opportunity for us to sort of give the man the move that he deserves to stay in the Premier League and go to a club that's closer to home and be happy. I think he's earned it. I know he's earned it. And I think it'd be a real fucking dick move if we blocked it again. I know they're relegation candidates, but look, this is Dawson, all right? It ain't like we're selling them our star striker who's going to score all the goals. We're not. I know he's a good player, but he ain't been great this season. I think his form is dropping off, probably because of the situation that he's in. But he always gives 100%. I think we've got to honour it. We've got to give him his move. It'd be horrible not to. Sorry, one moment. But yeah, that's Dawson. So let me know what your thoughts are on that. I really don't want us to block his move again. Let's just let the man go. And I wish him all the best. That's what I think we should do. Next is Mikel Antonio. Right, the bit of a surprise. I won't talk too long about Mickey. I don't think we can let him go because I don't trust the board to go out and get a suitable backup striker or replacement. I don't think Youssef En-Nesyri is that, and I don't even want him anyway. The guy's scored virtually no goals in the last year or two, nothing at all, no assists, and he looks absolutely toothless in a defensive outfit playing for Morocco. Sounds fucking great, doesn't it? Yeah, what a signing that would be. So no, I don't want En-Nesyri anymore. I did want him, but I don't anymore. And it is a Moyes signing, and I don't want any more Moyes signings. And apart from anything else, the guy has turned us down twice before because his family is settled and he doesn't want to move to England. So Moyes has gone back in again for a third time. I mean, he struggles enough trying to bed players in that want to come to us. You want to bring a player in, make them unhappy by uprooting them and their family, pull them into a country that they don't want, into a relegation fight, and you think this guy's going to be amazing. Of course he's not. He's going to be fucking miserable. Like everyone else is miserable in your team, Moyes. You just... it is ridiculous that he's gone in again. He gets obsessed. He's like a fucking stalker, isn't he? He did it with Lingard. It's really weird. No means no, Dave. All right? Very... Yeah, ooh, bit of a weird one, old Moisey. But yeah, so that's Mikel Antonio. Would I sell him under normal circumstances? Yes, I would, because we bought him for 8 million, and if we can sell him for something similar when he's coming up for 33 and he's at the end of his career now, it's a no-brainer. But not in our situation. You don't go giving a goal scorer to your relegation rivals. How can you do that? Because can you imagine the threat then for them coming off the bench? Imagine them with the greased up Traore and Antonio with fucking 20 minutes to go being sent on against you when it's 1-1. You wouldn't want to defend against that, would you? So what impacts would that give them off the bench? No way. You can't go giving them Antonio. Not in the situation that we're in. So Mickey, I'm sorry, mate. You got to stay. You can't go. But the last one, and this really, I'll go apoplectic, if that's a word, with rage if this happens, because he's one of my favourite players. And I think he's been absolutely professionally abused by David Moyes. He's been made into something that he's not. And that's Pablo Forlanals. Apparently, Lopetegui wants Pablo Forlanals to go to Wolves based on the fact that he's hard-working. He's a great passer of the ball. He had the third highest presses per 90 minutes in the whole Premier League last season. Surprisingly enough, Lanzini was just under there as well. So third and fourth place, that was Forlanals and Lanzini. Weird how they're not in the team now, isn't it? Because Moyes don't like a pressing game. He prefers 11 traffic cones that just stand there in a shape and make it hard to play through. Don't press because you'll move out of position. So Pablo Forlanals is linked with Wolves. And I don't think really that can't happen. You can't do that. Pablo Forlanals is a fucking great player. I've said it so many times. Pablo Forlanals is one of the few players from our setup that you could pick up and drop in the Man City team, and I'll guarantee you he would fit in. Because he can play all that fast, one-touch, tiki-taka stuff. He presses like a madman. He's hard-working. He's fantastic. Yeah, I know the other day, he ain't always got his shooting boots on. Not always. Sometimes he can be a bit funny in front of goal, can't he? But he's not a striker. He's not a striker. When he gets into them positions, he's such a positive player and he's a happy player. Doesn't look happy at the moment, which breaks my heart because he's like one of the happiest characters I've ever seen at West Ham. And David Moyes is even sucking the life out of Pablo, What does that tell you? Pablo would probably want that move. That's what I would say. And that's someone who I believe loves West Ham. And Pablo Forlanals would probably rather go to Wolves to go and play for Lopetegui in a team that are going to play in a very different way to West Ham. I think he would prefer that. And I think that would probably be better for Pablo Forlanals. So maybe I'm being selfish by not letting him go. But I can't. I can't let Moyes remove what I think is a great player from West Ham. I love him. And I think he would be so useful for whoever comes in next when Moyes is gone, be it now or in the summer. Heaven forbid, in the summer. So, no, that can't happen. I'll be fucking fuming if that happens. So, you can have Dawson, Wolves. You can't have Mickey because I don't fancy you having the the ability to bring Traore and Antonio off the bench to help you win you games and move you further away from us in this relegation battle. And you can't have Pablo because you just can't. It's not going to happen. So anyway, look, let me know what your thoughts are, everyone, and drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and even if you didn't, because like I say, it really helps us. So please drop a like on the video and subscribe if you're new around here as well. Hit that bell notification. John will be back Friday. He's back on Friday with a daily ramble. So yeah, I'll speak to you all soon. Go with your hands.